Hey folks, I saw the video. I was able to shoot me a 5-point buck. So now, after we clean the deer, now I got to clean the gun. So this is a Navy Arms Country Boy 50 caliber. So I'm just going to go over some of the steps, especially for some of you novice folks that never muzzleloaded hunt, just to give you a little rundown on how to clean a gun. All right. First, I'll show you all of our tools that we need to use. We'll have our number 13 bore cleaner, Thompson Center. Need to have some bore butter. This will help treat your barrel and make it easy to load and easy to clean. You'll need some breech plug grease. This happens to be Knight brand. And you also need your tools. I need a screwdriver, one section. There's a tool that's inside my gun that comes with the gun, but this is my father-in-law made this for me, so we can actually put a wrench on the end instead of fighting around the scope. I've got a end wrench that'll actually fit the end of that. We have our jag for the end of our ramrod, and this allows the patches to be pulled back out. We need some patches to clean your barrel, and then when you're going to reload, you need your measuring device. And they come in different versions of that. And then whatever black powder that you use. I haven't used Pyrodex. This is my second jug. Still got plenty. And then the bullets I'll be using are the SSTs, low drag, lock and load speed sabots. And these are 250 grain. And so far, they've done well. Alright? So, we'll start taking apart the gun. Okay, on this gun, on the back end of the barrel, of the stock I mean, we have a place that actually holds our tools. We'll take that off. And it has two tools right there. One end is for the nipple, one end is for the breech plug. And this is to be able to sit in there and turn it. Now, like I said, my father-in-law made me this one because it reaches in there a little bit further, and I can get a wrench on the end of this. But sometimes with these older guns, they like to stick a little bit. So, on this gun, you have to take off the cover on the back. Always make sure that your action is closed, because if your action is all the way back, then your spring is tight in there. And then when you open that up, that spring is really going to have a lot of pressure on it. So always make sure that your action is closed to take the pressure off your spring. I'm going to take that off. And it will spring a little bit. There we go. What we have is the spring, and the bolt in there, and the cap. Take these out. Then we're going to take the insides here. Now, a lot of times it'll stick on your trigger, so you have to pull your trigger closed to get to go far enough back. You can take off the part there. You'll slide your action part all the way out. That's your part that actually hits. It's basically your hammer. Okay, so now we'll go in to get the nipple. I'll show it this way real quick. There's the nipple. On the newer guns, you break them open, you can take them out with your hand. This is the older version, so we have to go in and use the tools to get it out. So we slide this in, put it right on the nipple. We use our other tool to put it in the hole, and usually the nipple comes off pretty easily. Just unwind it until that comes off. And there it is. the nipple. That's simple. Now we're going to go back in, and once again, this is usually thick enough that it gets hung on your trigger, so you may have to pull your trigger to allow the tool to go in. So we'll see if it's loose enough to use a little tool. And you always have to be careful because you do not want to hit your scope and knock your scope off. It seemed like it was pretty easy, but still it is easier to get this tool. It helps when you're following all the machinist. So we'll get it in there and use this longer tool to be able to reach in and unscrew the breech plug. Now this gun was shot when I got the deer, but then I reloaded it in case I needed a follow-up shot or if there was a second deer in the vicinity. So oops, and the plug fell out. There we go. There's the plug. Now it's going to be a little bit caked up with the anti-seize breech plug grease. A little bit dirty up here, and then it's got some black powder on the inside. It's already fired once, and then the gun still has a charge in it, so it's got black powder and a bullet. So what I've done is got a little trash can. I actually have a bag in there. You can either stick your gun all the way down inside there, and then take your rod, and push that out. Your bullet and your powder comes out. There we go. Now, with that, I can reach in and save the bullet. No need in saving the powder. But there's the bullet. I can reuse that. We'll clean that up. So, what I like to do with these two parts is I like to take them to the sink, hot water, soapy water, Dawn, clean them out real good. We'll do this step first. Make sure you don't lose anything down the drain. But that gives them time to dry, and you can clean them out with the boil butter, because that dries better than just water. Okay, so we're going to take a minute and wash these out. Okay, we got that washed up. We want to make sure we dry it. What I didn't show you is I have a little pipe cleaner type thing there. You use it to get all up inside there, inside the opening, both sides. Want to make sure that you dry it all the way, real good. I use the Dawn because of the breech plug grease, but then you'll use the bore cleaner, and that actually cuts through the black powder residue a little better. So clean that up best we can, dry it up, and I'll actually take one of our little patches here. I'll hold it on the end, and I'll take a drop and actually go inside the plug there. I'll clean that up real good. And this will dry better than just water. Set that off to the side, and we'll let these dry while we clean the rest of the gun. We want this all the way clean before we put it back together. And of course, you should be able to take your nipple, look all the way through it, and see. Okay, so those are good there. Now, we'll go put some of these tools over, start cleaning the gun. Now what we'll do is we'll take some of our patches. Usually it takes me about 3 patches to get the barrel completely clean, and then I'll have another clean the action area and some of our other parts. What I'll do is I'll just stack them up, pour a little bit of bore cleaner, number 13 bore cleaner, and get our pads pretty good and wet here. I have to change the end on my ramrod. Sometimes it likes to be stubborn. There you go. And put the jag on it. Some people leave the jag on all the time. It sticks out a little bit further on my gun than I'd like it to, so I'll put the jag on, and that allows the pads to come back out. So we'll take the gun and stand it up. We'll take one of our wet pads, put it right on the tip. And it helps to have the right size pad for your gun. If the pad's too big, it makes it very difficult. And I used to usually go up and down 3 or 4 times. If you go in too far, it'll connect onto the threads and it'll get hung up. Alright, so that one's pretty dirty. You can tell from where I shot. We use multiples. And when it gets fairly clean, you can actually turn the pad inside out and use it again. You go too far, you get down into the threads, and that's when it gets stuck. Well, I was telling you a minute ago. So then you just got to push it all the way through. And that's good to do sometimes. We're still pretty dirty, so we want to get another pad. You want to do that as many times as it takes to get that pad to stay clean. Drop on through. It's getting much cleaner now. I think I'll take that one and turn it inside out and use it again. We'll do one more clean one. We'll see what we end up with. I think that's probably going to be enough for the barrel. There we are. That's pretty clean. Alright, and it was just, what, four patches there. Alright, we'll go ahead and use the same patch and clean up right here inside the action. With the bolt, and all goes inside here. It gets a little dirty. Black powder residue, some smoke. Okay. Whichever ones you have left, you can clean up your barrels. Get all your dirty fingerprints off of it. And outside of your scope. If you got something all over your stock, you can wipe that off. Got that tangled around there. That's crazy. Okay. So basically, our gun is clean. I got some of the moving parts clean. A little finger hold there. That usually doesn't get too bad. And then we have this part. This is basically what ignites your cap. So that part gets a little bit nasty from black powder residue. So we're going to clean that up real well. Dry one, clean it up. Okay, all of our parts painful. We are now ready to put the gun back together. Make sure these are all the way dry. If you got anything left on them, wipe off. That's good. Sometimes if you tap them on there, you'll see if there's any moisture in there. It's pretty dry there, so I think we're in good shape. I'll do that with the nipple. Okay, now we are getting ready to put this gun back together. This is a very important piece, very important step. When you're putting your gun back together, use the breech plug grease. It's also known as anti-seize. If you tighten something together real tight and shoot the gun, it may be very difficult to get it back apart. And if you've got a gun loaded, it's got black powder in it, there are certain things you can't do, like you can't heat it up. So this is a precautionary step to make sure you can get your gun back apart. And you don't want to get too much, and you don't want to get it inside your firing hole there. So you're just going to take a little bit. It's got a little bit right here. And we're going to make sure to only get it on the threads. We'll rotate it around. Now this one, and if you do get it, make sure you clean it off. Okay, that one doesn't take much, and that screws right back in to your plug. If you can see that, and then whatever leftover you have, you're going to put that on here. We'll need a little bit more. I'm almost out, so I have to get some more. But if you'll notice on here, it's only dark up to about that far. So we're only going to put the breech plug grease onto those threads. And once again, I'm holding my hand over top of holding my thumb over top of the hole so I don't get any grease on the inside there. Alright, so we'll keep grabbing my paper. Alright, so we're ready to assemble the gun back together. So, what you can do, once again, when you line this up, your trigger mechanism, I dropped it. What we're going to do is we're going to try to line this up, and sometimes your trigger mechanism will get in the way again. So you may have to pull the trigger and make it go in. And once you get it in that far, when you line it up, you can actually turn your gun over, and that way it'll line up straight to go in. Now you don't need to over tighten this, you just need it to be pretty good and snug, but you don't need to take a wrench to it and crank it down. After you shoot a gun, then all of that will become much harder to take apart. So I'm going to use my regular tool. I'm going to put it in there, squeeze the trigger, get it through, line it up. And I'm just going to take the little tool for leverage and give it about just 1/8 of a turn, not much at all. Now we'll squeeze the trigger, get that out again. We'll flip it over, put that side on the nipple, because remember we only put that in on hand tight. Get that seated, and once again we'll only do it about 1/8 of a turn, maybe not even that, 1/16 of a turn. Okay, so that's good to go. Now that means our plug is back in, our nipple is back in. Now we'll need to put our action back together. You'll line it up to that hole. Goes in. You have to squeeze your trigger again to get it to shove in. And you'll line up that hole so that you have your part in it. Go all the way forward again. Because if you try to put the spring back in it with that action open, you really got to cram your spring together. And that makes it very difficult. So we'll squeeze the trigger. We'll make that go all the way forward. And we'll take our spring and basically our firing pin. We'll stand it up again. This sometimes becomes difficult. And you really don't need breech plug grease on this because you're not getting any heat in it when the gun fires. Okay. There you go. Cleaned, ready to go back together. Okay. Always make sure your action works after it's clean. Make sure your safety works. That works good. Okay. So we're going to let it go back. Now, before you load your gun, this is a step that helps out. It really helps out on a brand new gun. Helps season the barrel, but it also helps in loading. It helps in cleaning too. You're going to take this bore butter. You're going to take another patch, get a dry one. You don't want to use a wet one. And all you have to do is get a little bit on the end of your patch, just like that. Okay. What we're going to do, I'm going to take a ramrod right here. I'm going to shove that in, and that coats the barrel just a little bit. Now, if you have a lot on there and you shove it all the way down, it can clog up your nipple. You don't want to do that because you get the buck of a lifetime and you go to shoot and that spark can't get to your black powder. So don't put too much bore butter on your patch, and you don't have to go all the way to it bottoms out. You're just coating the inside of the barrel. A lot of times you can take that same patch, especially if you're using a sabot that you've already loaded because it is a little dirty. You can take that bore butter and actually coat the outside of your sabot a little bit. And that'll help that for loading your sabot too. Okay, we're going to measure up the load, fill our gun, put a bullet in. Hope you enjoyed this video of us cleaning this gun. Some people think it's a pain cleaning a muzzleloader, a black powder rifle. I have a different philosophy. The reason why I have to clean this gun is I'm getting ready to go hunting, or I was successful. This time, I was successful. So, I enjoy cleaning this gun. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. We'll see y'all later.